Welcome back to Inside the Ring, boxing's official show of record. I'm your host, Max Kellerman. That's our insider, Mike Coppinger. This is our former participant, Chris Arreola. You know how these shows work. How they don't usually work is, what's a football guy doing? That's the fan right there. That is Shady McCoy. All-decade team, he claims. Has not yet been verified. All-decade team in the NFL at running back. That's not easy.
Hey, man. Somebody had to do it.
All right, guys, it's time for the lead hook. Guys, Joseph Parker takes on Fabio Wardley this Saturday exclusively on DAZN. Joseph Parker has done an excellent job of eliminating other heavyweight contenders from discussion for a title shot. Listen to his last 3 fights. Tell me if you think this is any good. He's beaten Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang, and he stopped Martin Bakole. I mean, think about some of those wins that, Bakole was coming off a big win. That's his last 3 fights. Meantime, Fabio Wardley, who's a talented, inexperienced, but talented guy, got here by beating fellow unbeaten heavies Frazier Clark and Justice Hooney. What do you guys expect in this one? I'll start with you.
I expect a really entertaining fight, Max. Joseph Parker, very underrated heavyweight. Like you said, he's earned his shot. Yes, and let's not forget, when he beat Deontay Wilder, he was like an 8-1 underdog. Wilder was not considered well past it at that point. Parker outboxed him, almost stopped him late in the fight. And Fabio Wardley, he lost every round against Hooney in that last fight and then stopped him late in the fight. He has incredible power. He's very athletic. I expect a barn burner here, and you have to favor Parker.
Chris, Joseph Parker is actually one of my favorite fighters. Yeah. And my favorite in a given sport is not necessarily the guy who I think is the best, right? They have a certain quality I like about him. Say whatever you want about, like, Russell Westbrook in the NBA. That dude, if you paid your money to see Russell Westbrook, he gave you his all. Yes, he gave you his money's worth. Joseph Parker is that kind of fighter to me, Chris. He from the beginning was this, like, really good, hot, rising prospect. He did not take the easy road. He fought everyone who was there. And even when he lost, it's not like he got overwhelmed. He held his own, and he learned from it and got better and better and better. What are you expecting here?
Well, one thing's for sure, that Joseph Parker has a lot of good experience, and he came from a good boxing trainer. You know, Coach Barry was a great coach, and he taught him, like, everything that a heavyweight needs to know. So he has all the tools that a heavyweight needs. But Fabio, he's just that X factor. He has the eliminator, the one that's gonna keep you on your P's and Q's. So it's gonna be a fun fight. But you know, if Parker ain't careful, you're gonna get stopped by Wardley.
Okay, before we get to Shady, I want to follow up with you, and I bring this up with you all the time, and I apologize because I forgot the guy's name. But who did you fight? That former football player, he was a high school football player, big athletic guy, looked like Barry Bonds.
Seth Mitchell.
I don't think it was Seth.
He played
Mitchell.
for USC, right?
I don't think it was Seth Mitchell.
I fought Seth Mitchell.
No, but who dropped you?
Travis Walker.
Travis Walker. Okay. So this, I was calling that fight, and I think I made this point on the air. When a really schooled guy with a deep amateur background, fights a guy who's really athletic with those fast twitchies, but he's not as experienced. That was Walker.
Yeah.
Sometimes the athlete can drop the other guy or hurt the other guy. He dropped you.
Yeah, he put me down.
His mistake was when you got up, because he doesn't have the same kind of muscle memory as you, he starts to exchange with you, and that's the end of the fight. Then the guy with the amateur background is going to get him. Isn't that what we have here? Even if Wardley hurts him, how can he start exchanging with him?
He better finish him. If he hurts him, he better finish him, because, like you said, Parker does have that muscle memory that he could easily just counter punch and catch a punch and give it right back to him. So, as I said, like, Fabio, once he drops him, he has to jump on him, but he better do it smartly.
Yeah. Well, he got a lot of heart, though. I would say about Wardley, but I'm going with Parker, though. Parker, I told you this before, he's one of my favorites because he can box. He can box with the best, and then he's sneaky, got power, though. Yep. Some guys knock guys out. Demarcus Wilder, I watched that fight. All my brothers, we was sad about that fight, but he earned it and he won that fight. So I just think if I had to pick somebody, I'm going with Parker.
When he was coming up, Parker, fighting local guys, you say he can box, but he looked like Jack Dempsey at times. He was aggressive, beating guys up at times. He is a well-schooled, well-rounded fighter.
Very. Like Chris said, Kevin Barry, great trainer. And these Kiwi fighters, Max, they are tough guys. They're crazy. They get in bar fights. Parker right now, you could argue he's in the best stretch of his career. Yeah. And it's not really a coincidence because Parker has been pretty open about it. He had his struggles with alcohol. Now he's alcohol-free. And during that stretch, the third-round knockout of Martin McCoy, yes, McCoy took the fight on short notice, still knocked him out, almost stopped Wilder late in the fight. Zhilei Zhang.
I mean, by the way, this is not, nowadays you have to be careful the way you phrase this, but the truth is, like, if you hear a dude is Samoan in the NFL, what does that tell you, right? What does that tell you about his...
He gets real low and he's strong.
And he's strong, right? Like, that's just a fact of the truth of the matter from that part of the world, right? And Parker's got some of that in him, too, in addition to everything else.
He's a massive human.
He's a physically strong fighter, in addition to the fact that he's well-schooled and has...
That's the most important thing, that he's very well-schooled, that he stays in the P's and Q's, that he's like you see that, he throws good combinations, you know. Heavyweights don't throw combinations. That's one thing that I had before is throwing combinations. Combinations is always fundamentally the best thing, and especially in the heavyweight. Shit, we only throw 1-2 punches at a time.
Yeah, and I think he's super competitive too, though. If you look at his last 3 fights, like it was a point where we thought that what's the my man's name? What's the big dude name for the African dude?
McCoy?
McCoy.
Yeah, McCoy, yeah.
It was the time of McCoy. Nobody wanted to see him. And then he said, well, step in here. And then when he stepped in there, Parker gave me that work.
And that was, and then,
you know what I'm saying?
By the way, that was
that.
after Zhang, and that was after Wilder. Those are consecutive fights. And what Chris said, that's a point that I will go back to. When I see heavyweight prospects, the first thing I'm really looking for, I'm always looking for, as you say you take a drink every time I say it, fast twitchies, right? That's for any athlete.
All athletes.
Because power thrills, but speed kills, right? Yes. Like that fast twitchy thing. Yeah. You at that. That's why you were all decade, right? For sure.
Well, thank you, man.
I mean,
thank you,
am I lying?
Excuse me.
Am I lying? Am I lying?
You,
but you were super twitchy. But I start to look, does the guy throw combinations? Not 1-2s, 4s, 5s, and 6s. Yeah. And Parker coming up could do those things.
Right.
Harder for him to do that at this level, but he's capable of doing that kind of stuff.
He gets like little flurries, little times that he makes a miss and counter back. So that's what can you say that Wardley can't do?
That Parker can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Wardley is an athletic guy, by the way. He's an athletic guy,
too, yeah.
And he can punch. That's for sure. But as I think, as Chris said, the trick is, if he gets him hurt, he's got to do one of two things. Either finish him right there or don't engage in an exchange. Because that's when a guy like Parker is most dangerous to an inexperienced fighter. You got to learn to either capitalize on your advantage to end it, or if you can't do that, don't get crazy.
Right, and Max, you mentioned that Parker is obviously older now, but again, the confidence. I think we're looking at two guys that are riding high. Parker in that great 3-fight stretch, and then Wardley, yes, he lost every round, and then he knocks out Hooney. It's not easy, as Chris knows, to score knockouts late in a fight, especially at heavyweight. So I think these are two fighters that are going in at their best.
What about the big advantage of, you talk about the experience, but Parker has seen every style. You want to box, you want to be a power puncher, you want to brawl. He's seen it all. So that's why it's hard for me to see him losing this, because he's seen every style you can see. And he's fought a lot of top guys.
Yeah, and listen, there's a reason that Parker is a big favorite here. He's a big favorite. But if he wins this fight, when we look at Parker's resume years from now, that will jump out as one of those fights where even if Wardley doesn't go on to have a great career, it's like, man, he fought a lot of guys like that, like kind of dangerous, athletic guys in sort of in-between fights. Meantime, Frank Warren, guys, is saying that the winner of the fight gets Usyk.
Oh,
all right?
Okay.
Here's the question, let me put it this way. Who would be the more interesting matchup against Usyk? Parker, the guy who everyone believes is the most deserving of all heavyweights for the shot, but who no one is picking to beat Usyk, or a wild card like Wardley, were he to be coming off a Parker win against Usyk, who at least presents something a little different, a little extra punching power, unpredictability.
I think it's no question, Max. It's Parker, and it's not just as a fighter, but as a personality. Parker's one of the best interviews in boxing. He has a lot of charisma, and he just makes fun fights. We see the fun videos he does when he calls out fighters. They've gone viral. And Wardley, though, if he's coming off of the win over Parker, you mentioned he's a big puncher. Yeah, that could change things.
That he would be like a poor man's Itauma at that point, right? Who's the guy?
Maybe homeless man's version.
Poverty-stricken man's Itauma. But Parker, I think,
Parker too.
I think Parker's the more interesting guy for Usyk, even for Usyk's place in history, Chris.
Not only because of his skill set, and like you said, he's fought who's of boxing already. So why not put him in there with someone with a great fighter like Usyk? You know, you put up a great fight with him. I think so.
Yeah. And he can win different ways.
Yeah.
Right. I always heard Roy Jones talk about fighters. Right. When we talk about the Canelo versus Crawford, he said Crawford can win in so many different ways. So if plan A don't work, okay, cool, let's go to plan B. When I look at Parker now, it's gonna be hard to.
But I think that's one of the reasons that because like Parker can do a lot of things and Usyk can do a lot of things better, right? And can do even more things. I think that Parker's also one of those guys where even from Usyk's point of view, Usyk has become overrated as a heavyweight champion historically and underrated as a pound-for-pound guy historically, right? He's one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters who ever lived.
Come on now.
But as a heavyweight, the resume, while it's excellent at the top, is a little thin. He hasn't beaten, 10 top heavyweights, right? Something like that. And even for Usyk's place in history, when you look back at the resume, he got Fury twice and he got Joshua twice. Parker will be one of those guys where even if they fight and Usyk wins, and who else did he beat? We bring up Joseph Parker to buttress Anthony Joshua's resume, right? Oh, look, he beat Joseph Parker. When you look at guys like Muhammad Ali, it's not just that he beat Frazier and Foreman and Liston and Norton. He beat Jerry Quarry and Oscar Bonavina and Ron Lyle and Ernie Shavers and Henry Cooper and Doug Jones. He beat so many top fighters. Evander Holyfield, same thing. Not just that he beat Tyson or he fought Lennox Lewis or he beat Riddick Bowe that one time. He fought, Mercer, a million different guys, Michael Dokes and now I'm forgetting everyone Holyfield fought
Bobby Chez.
Those are like you and I just gave the worst examples of the top guys he fought. But it's the fact that he fought everyone in the era, right? It makes a difference, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Does it matter though? What like size wise? Like Usyk is a smaller dude in there, fighting all these big guys and beating them. Do you get more credit for that too?
It's always funny to me, right? Because it's all about generations. We say Usyk's a small dude. The guy is 6'3", like 225.
Yeah, bigger than Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but
yes, he's not the size of Fury or Joshua. You're not wrong, Shady. I'm just saying when you look at through the generations, heavyweights today.
Usyk is a heavyweight champion in an era of super heavyweights.
That's what I mean. Right.
Guys like him and Holyfield who moved up in weight, but then actually became dominant fighters even at heavyweight in an era of super heavyweights are, amazing all-time greats.
I mean, they're big, but shit, I had a fight with Klitschko. That motherfucker, those dudes were really big. They were really big, and they used their distance. It was a different kind of a fight that they did. It wasn't like so technical. It was more scientific because it wasn't a technical fight. They're keeping their angles, and they didn't move so much. They didn't run. They just used their angles, and they just boxed you differently. So
the size matters. It matters.
And experience matters. As you can see, Chris got experience. The guys against top heavyweights kept getting better. And even on TV, he starts MFing, but he stops it halfway.
Right.
You see what I mean? He's got experience now. He doesn't even know he did it. He doesn't even know he did it, but he started to curse, and then he stopped it right. He just cut off it still probably counts as a curse, but he cut off the very end of it. You guys catch that?
I didn't catch it.
I caught that. That was good.
Yeah.
And real quick, though, to the Holyfield comparison, it's funny because when you watch Holyfield, he looks smaller, and then he's chasing these big dudes down. Usyk did the same thing when they first fought Tyson Fury. I'm like, he's chasing Tyson Fury down.
What makes Usyk special, and the reason everyone's picking, the reason Parker's having a hard time landing that fight right now, is because, as I've said, even though he deserves it, no one is picking him to win, and the reason for that is what you saw in the Tyson Fury fight with Usyk is no matter what adjustments you make, he can adjust to your adjustment at the highest possible level. It doesn't matter if you're big. It doesn't matter if you hit hard. It doesn't matter if you change your strategy, how hard you trained. His brain works a little faster than yours, and his skills are a little sharper, and he will, as all great fighters do, figure out a way, right? So it's hard to imagine Parker overcoming that, I think.
It is hard to imagine it, but obviously Parker can really buoy the commercial appeal of this fight if he can score a big knockout against Wardley. I think that's one of the big hooks of this fight right here.
Yeah, sure.
Like how it looks, you saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's been the he needs something. Parker needs the kind of win that electrifies people. And then people can say, not only has he now done this 4 times in a row, but people are buzzing about it afterward. I think that makes it easier for him to land the fight.
But does it really matter how he wins, as long as he wins? does it matter if he knocks him out? Regardless, he's gonna fight Usyk. So does it matter how he wins?
You think he's got why isn't he fighting Usyk already in that case? I think it does matter. He should be on resume. Why would anyone get to fight Usyk before Parker right now? On resume, especially recent resume, is there anyone off the top of your head you can think?
Off of maybe you could argue Caballel, recent resume, but that's coin flip with Parker. I wouldn't say it's above him.
But it's not like anyone's sitting around going, Caballel needs to get the next shot.
No,
that's the reason Parker's not getting it.
And boxing fans like Parker. If you go on Twitter, everyone's calling for Parker to get his shot. They like Parker as a fighter. They like him as a personality. People want to see this fight.
And he's been in a different, he had different lives in boxing already.
Yes.
He's had 2 lives already in boxing, and his second life has been the best life that he's done right now.
He has a lot of heart.
Yeah.
I think people forget that shootout he had with Dillian White. Remember, he dropped him late in that 12th round. Almost pulled it out.
No one's ever run through, even Parker's losses. The other guy was in trouble. The other guy was having problems. Parker had chances to win, and he's just gotten better and better, and that's why he's one of my favorite. I think a lot of boxing fans really like him. All right, as you mentioned.
Stay off Twitter, too, man. You arguing with people on Twitter?
Yeah, he'll get right in listen, never wrestle with pigs. You both get dirty and the pig likes it.
Right.
Coming up, my interview with Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley. Stick around. This is Inside the Ring.
Live only on DAZN, October 25th, Parker versus Wardley. Joseph Parker, former heavyweight champion of the world and the current WBO interim champion. He has McCoy, Zhang, and Wilder behind him. His next challenger, Fabio Wardley, the WBA interim heavyweight champion. And the UK's answer to who will hold all the gold next. 2 champions lie in wait. Who will get a shot at undisputed? It's truly all or nothing. Parker versus Wardley, October 25th. Watch only on DAZN.
Welcome back to Inside the Ring. I'm Max Kellerman, Mike Coppinger, Shady McCoy, Chris Arreola. Guys, I love when we do this. We did this last week with the Boots fight, right? It was 1 round, so we played you the fight. A lot of people missed the wildest round of the year so far. It was Sebastian Juarez and Layton, Demarcus Layton. They fought on DAZN this past weekend. If you didn't see it, you'll see why we're playing it for you. It is wild. Check this out, guys.
Yeah, I haven't even seen this just yet. I was in Riyadh at tennis, so I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, so it's a wild round, and Juarez and Layton, they're feeling each other out a little bit here, but they're doing it with energy, obviously,
that boy quick.
right?
Who I'm going for, Mike?
Who you going?
Who I'm going for, Mike?
Shady's asking you a
Who
question.
am I going
Who
for?
am I going for right now?
Oh, we know who you're going for. You're going for Layton.
That boy got some moves. Throw some moves. Look how quick he is.
You might like what. Now, some people have called this the round of the year. I don't know about that, but it's certainly.
Look, that's a bad brother.
Yeah.
It's a bad brother right there.
That wasn't a flash knockdown. That wasn't a flash knockdown. Juarez is on Queer Street here, right? He's stumbling around.
How was he not stopping that
There we go.
fight?
It's Arthur Mercanti Jr.,
so crazy.
who famously Yuri Foreman tore his meniscus, and he said, "Suck it up, champ." Against Miguel Cotto.
Oh my God.
Those are my favorites.
He doesn't stop the fight. It's the first round. He has not taken a lot of punishment yet. He wants to continue fighting. I don't mind letting
I
that
don't
fight
mind it
go.
either, actually, in this instance.
But he still doesn't have his legs. He's holding on for dear life. Look at this.
Come on, dog.
That's the only way to stop from going
Why is
down. And it
Layton
didn't even
celebrating
work.
already?
If you blink, it might like a Terrence Crawford. Look how quick he is.
Okay, Shady,
calm
let's
down.
I said you blink. If you blink too
Carried away.
fast. Pop, look at him. Pop.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the most
Oh, sorry, that's
aesthetically
Lawrence Cole. Sorry,
That's a
I
flag,
mistakenly
bro.
said
No, yeah.
Mercanti
Did you
Jr.
say? Oh, you called him.
That's
Lawrence.
Lawrence
See,
Cole.
now he's losing a
Texas.
point.
Dickey Cole, his father, was
Yeah,
head of the
that's
commission
Runs
for a
the
really long
commission,
time.
and Lawrence Cole
Yeah.
kept getting those assignments.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Hey, Chris, defensive holding, man, from the dude. That's a flag. Defensive holding. God dang.
Yeah, what
That's
I
the
was thinking
second
of
one right
with
there.
Cole was when Marquez.
That's the second time he gets
won that one
points
Marquez.
away.
Remember that fight? I think he called him maybe.
Yeah.
And he told his opponent, told Marquez, "Hey, you can stop the fight if you want because you're up on the cards."
Yeah, Lawrence Cole's made a lot of mistakes in his career, but I don't think this was one of them, actually.
He had to play football. He had to play football the way he's holding it.
Ooh.
Look at this boy.
Man, he got good distance on those punches, though.
Don't he?
Yeah, he does.
That's how. Oh, hold up now. Ooh.
Little wild at
Mike,
times.
that's how I would do
Oh,
you
very
right
wild.
there.
Very
Third round,
wild,
Mike,
but-
me and you. Second round, you going.
Yeah, like now, so far, can this be round of the year with all the holding guys?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Great
It's a lot
holding
of
for
punching,
being
though, man.
badly hold.
It's a lot of punching, man.
It's a wild round for sure, and it just got wilder.
The brother went down. Oh, Oh, God.
Oh, man, Shady.
Uh-oh, brother went down. Shady's having a heart attack.
Down goes.
The culture.
Owen. Yeah, I'm feeling it right now. He hit him, he hit me at the same time. Oh, did he?
Oh, shit.
Okay, come on, use athletic ability now. You know what to do.
Why is this guy?
Oh, wait, hold up.
Shady said,
Hold up.
use your
This fight should have been
athletic
stopped.
ability. You know what to do.
This fight should have been stopped, though, man. They want their brother to lose, dog. Come on.
I think they wanted him to lose.
Chris.
Or,
I mean,
Who's they? The boxing guys?
yeah,
What are you
who's
talking
that?
about?
Yeah.
Don't get dropped. Don't get caught.
Oh, look at, he can,
he's doing a dance.
he's on Bambi.
He stopped it. Now, y'all tell me to say rig, I will walk up this set. That is rigged.
By
He
the
just
way,
said a dance.
no.
he went
Let
down
me say
3.
something. Shady has a point here.
Thank you.
Was that the third knockdown?
There was a third.
Third.
And
There
was
a
it
third.
the 3 knockdown rule in effect?
I'm not sure about
Because
that.
unless the 3 knockdown rule, if it's in effect, Shady, that's just the way it goes. But if it's not,
End of the round,
you let.
yeah.
Well, you let. Why would you not
I agree.
give him the
I
same
agree.
chance you gave
That's
Juarez?
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
That's fair.
if the
True.
3 knockdown rules in effect, Shady, then that's the end. There's nothing to be done.
But then,
I like the way Juarez rolled with those shots, by the way. Didn't roll with that
look
one.
at him.
He felt like
Come on, man. He knocked him down 3 times, too.
No, twice.
Well, he been holding a lot.
He fell
That's
holding
true.
2 times.
Come on, man. He like Ray Lewis.
That's why he
We
lost
found
some
out that
points.
Chris Arreola can count a lot better than Shady.
Ropes held them up there. Almost went through the ropes. They weren't any looser.
Oh, I'm hurt, man.
Yeah, he's doing a dance. That was a dance.
I gotta.
What dance would you call that, Shady?
That one a stinky leg. Who can I write, Mike? You good at snitching on people. Who can I write to tell on what
Right to the
happened?
Texas Commission.
All right, bet. Give me his info. I'm gonna write it.
Yeah, there you go, Shady.
That was terrible, Max. And you
Not
know
if it's a 3 knockdown rule. Not if it's a 3 knockdown rule.
Do you know that?
What's that? No, I'm saying if the 3 knockdown rule is in effect, then there's nothing to be done. If not, then I will say
Yeah.
that Shady, you have a point. If you give one
Keep
guy
giving
the
him.
opportunity to keep fighting, right?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he didn't look that hurt.
Yeah.
Chris, what
Well,
that
he looked
feel
pretty
like,
hurt.
though,
It was
Chris?
pretty
He
hurt
was
to me.
hurt, but, not as bad as you did at the beginning.
Get hit like that, though? Like, how's
The
that?
best way to describe it, okay. I remember when Stavern hit me, right?
Right.
Inside my head, I said, "I wait" in Spanish, right? I swear to God. And then as I'm getting up, the
Switch languages. He hit you so hard, you switch languages.
Yeah. The best way to describe it is like when you disconnect the PlayStation and you connect it and it's rebooting.
Yeah.
That's what was happening with my head.
Oh.
It was like reboot. I was like, what the? And I was like, it took me a minute. And then like when I was getting my senses back, then the fight was, I'm like, shit. I was getting
Do you
it back.
normally think in Spanish or English?
All right. When I curse and I get hurt,
Yeah.
I curse in Spanish.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's just the
But
Mexican.
you were, in other words, like at the time you're fighting him, you're thinking in English. Then boom, and you
yeah,
flip to
exactly.
Spanish.
Like you
Max
hear
is
me, I'm
crazy.
like,
Right? Like you hit the button on the remote, and now.
Oh, snap.
The SAP button.
Yeah, the SAP button.
Right. That fast.
yeah, for real. Like I remember vividly. I got hit. I was like, I wait, and my fucking hand, my legs go, and I
There
go,
you
and
go.
I'm like, wait, trying to get
That's
up.
the time to start speaking Spanish. You
Yeah.
just cursed on the air again. I don't know if you're aware.
I said I wait.
Well, before that, you said something.
Oh, that's funny, though. Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
guys.
funny. Wow.
But
Before that,
yeah,
you said something.
Well, I guess in football, we don't do that, but we see stars, but I don't curse in Spanish.
Yeah, but football's also brutal. You know what a stinger is in football?
yeah, I had one.
But it sounds like a little harmless thing. It means that a limb is numb. You can't move
Yo,
a limb.
you can't, yeah.
They call that a stinger.
Yeah. You put the ball in the other hand. You can't feel his arm. You put the ball in the other hand.
all football players, fighters, you're all insane. All right. Meantime, Ring Magazine #1 ranked middleweight. And we've been talking about Janibek. Alim Khalouni.
There you go.
See, I could do it like that. Khalouni.
Nice.
Tweeted this. Look at what Janibek tweeted. I love this. He said, "I'll have all 4 belts. And if by then, by next year, and if by then Crawford is still holding all 4 in his division, we'll have a clash of 2 undisputed champions in the fall of 2026. Guys, I think Janibek sees he has a little more momentum toward a Crawford fight, and that's a huge payday. And it would be a way for him to show the world just how great he is. Because even if Crawford beats Janibek, that's no walk in the park.
No,
right?
it's not.
What do you think about Janibek putting it out there like that?
I mean, got to get your money, right? Got to get your money. closed mouths don't get fed. So if he doesn't say nothing, ain't nobody gonna hear him. Ain't nobody gonna want to know nothing about him. The best part is that he's doing it with his fist. He's proving who he is with his fist. He can make that fight happen a whole lot more easier with his fist, but you got to talk up for yourself.
I like it also, guys, because when you look at Crawford, and I've made this point a lot, whether or not you want to consider everybody who listens to this, who goes, oh, so-and-so won a belt in this division and in that division. I'm not talking about belts. If you win the W, B, the I, whatever, I don't even say their call letters, that means you're not the champion of the world. You're the champion of a sanctioning body. The champion of the world either puts the belts together or otherwise becomes the Ring Magazine champion. Right. Or if you're the lineal champion. Those are not always the same thing. It's a story for another day. But the point is, that's a world champion.
Yes, it is.
And there have been in history 2 fighters, by my count, 3 by others. No disrespect to Floyd Mayweather, who's in the greatest ever conversation, right? But he had Canelo Alvarez come down to below 154 pounds. That makes it a catchweight fight in my book, not a junior middleweight title fight. But anyway, you could argue Floyd has 4. Pacquiao, 4. And that's it until Crawford came along. And now he has 4. You know what no one has? No one has ever been the legitimate 5-division champion ever in the history of boxing. The champion, not of a sanctioning body, but of a weight division in the whole wide world. If Janibek unifies the titles, becomes the champion of the middleweight division, and Crawford drops down to 60 and beats him, he'll be, in my book, the first 5-division champion ever. Ever. That's a fight that makes sense, and I think that's his biggest threat, Mike.
I'm with you, Max, but I do have my doubts that everyone involved in boxing is going to see this as a commercially viable option for Crawford coming off the Canelo fight. So I have my doubts. We'll see it, but I love the confidence from Janibek or whoever's tweeting for him. And you have to look. Janibek, December 6th, he's going to be a decided favorite against Arreola Lara, and then he gets the shot against Carlos Adames. If he beats Adames, ends Lara back-to-back, it gives him a good shot.
This is maybe my favorite Turkey Al-Sheikh effect in boxing. What Turkey has done is take fights that people would traditionally say, I don't know if there's the market for that quite yet, but the boxing fans really want to see it.
Yeah.
And because he's a boxing fan, he says, okay, what is it going to take to make this fight? That's the fight that needs to be made. And I don't think it's an issue of even convincing Turkey that fight should be made in terms of someone talking him into it. I think it's an issue of, as a boxing fan, is that the fight you want to see? Because he's a boxing fan. So if Janibek does, in fact, unify the middleweight title and look sensational doing it, and Crawford maybe has an in-between fight before then, and those, when the dust settles, those are the 2 guys left standing, I'll bet you that fight can be made.
And everything you're saying, right, because he has to earn it, but I feel like when you hear all these people now that Crawford's the guy, they calling him out. All these different names, right? A lot of good fighters, but it's like, do you really deserve that? And I think what he's saying is, yo, I'm going to deserve this fight because he is that good. And every boxing fan will say, yo, probably pick Crawford, but it won't be a walk in the park. And
a lot of people are going to pick Janibek if he unifies the title and looks the way I suspect he'll look.
But that's what we want. We want them type of fights where, man.
And let's point out that he's going to have to beat Lara and Carlos Adames to do this. Carlos Adames is no slouch.
No, he's not.
A lot of people are going to pick Adames, not me, but a lot of people probably will smartly pick Adames if he fights Janibek.
That's good.
I'm taking Janibek against any middleweight.
Same.
Against any
He's
middleweight.
He's a bad man, though.
Not named Terrence Crawford, but the only reason I say that is it's not even coming from a fully rational place. It's coming from places until I see someone actually compete with Terrence Crawford.
I agree with that.
I'm taking Terrence Crawford. But Janibek, guys, that would be one of the most dangerous fights that anyone has ever taken in boxing, in the sense that deep into your career, Crawford will be 39 years old by then, right? A 39-year-old fighter whose legacy has been cemented in the uppermost echelon, to risk that against a guy like Janibek, should he emerge with devastating knockouts against Adames and Arreola Lara, or a win and a devastating knockout. It's hard to remember another guy who would take that kind of risk at almost 40 years old. But Crawford is the type of dude to do it.
He ain't ducking nothing.
But I've never seen either. I've never seen someone make Lara look bad. Also, so if
That's true.
If he makes Lara look bad, that's something to hang your hat on.
No doubt.
That's a good point. Though.
You get a Cuban southpaw who can really box and who's competed and beaten just about everybody.
Yep.
If you beat that dude up,
Canelo had a hard time with him.
Yeah, a lot of people think Lara won that fight.
And that's a good. I'm sorry, you going?
No, go ahead.
That's a good point though, Max, because like people feel like, all right, once Crawford's the man right now, that he might take some cupcakes because he could deserve it. Just like Canelo earned it right. They do the hand pointing. And for us to say, you know what? Yeah, Crawford see that, he'll take that fight. That's why we love him so much.
And to be, again, when I say some people criticize, said he's the GOAT of the era. Well, GOAT means greatest of all time. What do you mean of the era? I want to be clear. I mean, people in that era will insist that he's the GOAT, right? Whether or not they're right or wrong. The people who grew up watching LeBron James incorrectly think he's better than Michael Jordan,
right.
but you can't tell them that.
That's the era.
Right. People who grew up watching Kareem will say
Kobe,
the same thing, even though MJ is really the GOAT. So whether or not, Sugar Ray Robinson is the greatest fighter of all time, but people who grew up watching Terrence Crawford will insist that that dude is the GOAT, right? Because, and if he were to risk that all, on the one hand, at that stage in his career against a young, hungry guy, but on the other, to become the first ever division champion, taking that kind of risk. Now, his argument as greatest of all time is enhanced.
Yeah, but this is where I say, look, Crawford's not going to duck anybody. But also, let's remember, Crawford hasn't fought more than once in a year since 2019. So let's assume he fights once in 2026. He's at the point where he's fighting in big events, right? Janibek's going to really have to go out there and smoke Lara and Adames in order to entice Crawford and make it an event.
I agree.
That's a good point.
And well, unless he just winds up the undisputed middleweight champ and gives Crawford a chance to make history in a way no one's ever done it before.
And Crawford likes history. He likes making history.
I agree, though. Crawford's entitled to an in-between fight right now. Not every fight has to be against the biggest killer in the world. He's entitled to a big commercial fight that's not as threatening as Janibek. And then if he wants to continue fighting, it's going to be someone like Janibek.
And make some money, though. He deserves to make that money right now. Yeah.
If he was to fight the winner of Eubanks Ben, is that a big fight?
That's a big commercial fight against a fighter not as difficult as Janibek.
Yes,
I think that qualifies.
In the UK, yes.
In the UK, absolutely.
It'll be a big event, right? It'll be a big event.
It'll get him paid, too.
At Wembley Stadium or something, absolutely.
And Crawford, listen, I love Crawford because he didn't do the easy routes to get the money. He fought all them tough fights to get where he's at now, so get that money.
Coming up, our interview with the next opponent for David Benavidez, Anthony Yarde. Stick around, it's Inside the Ring. Welcome back to Inside the Ring. Max Kellerman, Chris Arreola, Mike Coppinger, Shady, McCoy, and we are joined now by the man who will be taking on David Benavidez on November 22nd in Riyadh. Guy who gives everybody all they can handle at least, and some guys a lot more than they can, Anthony Yarde. Welcome to the show.
How are you? How's everyone?
Good, good. More importantly, how are you? How are you feeling?
I'm fantastic. I'm excited for the big occasion coming up. It's a fantastic show. Fantastic fights on the show, especially my fight. So I'm excited for it.
You said you want to shoot out with Benavidez, and you always put on a good show, Anthony, but you did seem to gas a little late in the Beterbiev fight, for example. When you say you want a shootout, does that mean you're trying to end it early? How have you prepared differently so that if it is late in the fight, you're still shooting it out?
I feel like, again, a lot of my career has been experience, so if you look at my amateur career, I had 12 amateur fights. I jumped into the professional game, and I made a name for myself very quick. I'm a person, it's like I'm doing an apprenticeship in front of the world. I'm gaining experience. on big stages, taking on champions that people are avoiding. And I feel like, just my opinion, I've been better each time. So with the Kovalev fight, I went out to Russia. You know, everyone was telling me, "You're crazy, don't do that." But I done it. And then I had the Better Beer fight. You know, this is a guy that everyone was calling again a monster. You know, no one wanted to fight him. 18 fights, 18 wins, 18 knockouts. I fought him and I gave him his hardest fight at that point in time. So I can only take my experience that I'm getting in a positive way. And I just feel like I'll fight anybody. And each time I'm fighting these people, I'm getting better. And I personally feel like I want to beat David Benavidez. It's going to be a big upset. And at the end of the day, the crowd are going to be in for a treat because the way both of us fight, you're guaranteed a good fight.
Listen, your analysis of the Kovalev and the Beterbiev fights, as the kids say, facts. I mean, I agree with the analysis. I think it's spot on, and I think it's a very honest assessment. But having stepped up to, having those two step-up fights so far, both against Russians who have a difficult style. It's a highly effective style. This time you're stepping up again to that level, but it's not against the Russian. What does that mean for this fight?
I guess we have to wait and see. I've seen a lot of David Benavidez. I rate him highly. He says that he rates me highly as well. And I feel like the more I, rate somebody, the better I perform, the better I prepare. Because it's like everything's on the line. So, as you said, the Russian style, their school of boxing is very disciplined. It's very hard to get around. And in my opinion, experience was to my detriment when I fought them guys. I think if I fought any of them again, I think I'll beat them. But they're the past. Benavidez is my present fight. And I'm very, very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, Anthony, and you talk about those two fights, one against Beterbiev where you gave him all you could handle, but also in 2019 against Sergey Kovalev, who was still a pretty damn good fighter at the time. I thought you were like one or two punches away from knocking him out. He seemed like he was just ready to go. And I'm wondering, how hard was it for you to get over that fight, considering how close you were?
It was character building. Because at the time, I'm 34 now. I'm a grown man. At the time, I was, young in the sport. I was a prospect. I think I was 18 fights in, and everyone was saying to me, "You're crazy. Don't go to Russia and fight this guy. This guy has murdered somebody in the ring before. Don't do it. It's too early." But it's my character. I'm just like, where I grew up in East London, where you can end up in a fight for free. Whether it's in a pub, whether it's in a club, or just on the street. So I'm being paid for, challenging myself every day, being a better person, staying focused. All it is that I'm fighting in front of the world, which I enjoy. And I'm giving a better account of myself each time. At the time, it felt like a lot, because, you never want to lose a fight. But there's some people who see Floyd Mayweather's career and they're like, nah, you don't know how you don't know who he is really because he never took a loss. And then you got some people that, love Muhammad Ali. They're saying, yeah, he took a loss, he bounced back. It shows the true character of a champion. Me personally, I don't think you're meant to lose. A perfect career is when you're undefeated. But everyone's journey is different. My journey consisted of me having to lose to learn. And I can look in the mirror and say that at least I know myself. I know how I'm going to react in certain situations. And I know that when I actually say lions in the camp, I've actually got the heart of a lion, so I can live with that.
Anthony, most people can't say that they've hurt Arthur Benavidez, but you have, right? Now, on this show, yes. I'm the money man, okay? And I like to make my bets.
Come on.
Now, you are a huge underdog for this fight. What can you tell the betting public why this fight is going to go in your favor?
Do you know, I'm a realist. On paper, I should be a heavy underdog.
Okay.
He's been world champion. And these are the things that keep me thriving. I don't want to go in there and say, I've got the power to knock him out. I can do this, I can do that. I want to be in that situation where it's like a dog. I need to come out of this. I need to get out of this. I feel like that's when you get the best performances out of me. But I think people that have watched my career, they know I can hit. You know, after I fought Beterbiev, he said I'm up next. After I fought Kovalev, he said I'm up next as well. But again, you know, Mexicans, their styles are very, very different. They're very, very different. And David Benavidez has been, you know, you can call it almost perfect so far. And these are the things that make me thrive. I'll just be real with you. I don't want no, you know, trying to persuade the public or anything like that. The public that will watch me fight before, they know they're going to see a good fight. But I'm going to be the underdog, and I just want everyone to tune in. Tune in. That's what I'm going to say about that.
You're built like a bull, man. You're built like a bull. And David Benavidez says, you know, that your matchup fits him, you know, because you're going to come forward, you're going to bring some punch, you're going to bring some action. So what is it that you're going to do differently that he doesn't see coming?
Well, I think the only way to actually know if what I'm going to do is going to be effective is on the night. You know, you only actually know when you box. You're a boxer, so when you're in front of somebody, you can say you're going to do everything, everything you practiced. You know, you can say you're going to do this, say you're going to do that, and he's going to have these thoughts as well. But then the only time you know is when you get in front of somebody. It could be, you know, the way they're standing. It could be a punch they threw where you're like, why is he throwing these punches like that? And it's causing problems. So for me, the one thing I know about myself is, again, I've taken a loss before and I know how to handle it. So I feel like that's what makes me more dangerous in this fight. I think that David Benavidez has never lost. And I feel like sometimes that can be a bit, you know, that can be overconfidence. I've seen, you know, certain interviews and when he's talking about fights after me and things like that. So hopefully he's focused for this fight, because from what I've learned from studying the sport of boxing, that's how people slip up.
You sound like you take a very honest look at yourself and the situation as you prepare for a fight. How does, like, I've asked this to certain, especially action fighters, before big fights against other action fighters, knowing that no matter what you do, the likelihood is you are in for a war. You know, you fight Benavidez, particularly with your style, what the fans will be treated to a great fight, but that means a punishing fight on both sides. How do you prepare yourself going into a fight like that, knowing you're going to face, you could create something great, but you're going to have to walk through hell to do it?
I feel like it's just understanding what it is. And these kind of things excite me for some reason. I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but this is why I got into the sport, to be in big fights, be in fights that, you know, people are talking about, entertaining fights. And for me, it's like, you know, we can both hit. And I just feel like if I land on Benavidez, the fight's done. The fight, especially with the way I've been training. I'm sure he's been training ferociously as well, because he's going to want to make a statement. But I just know if I land against any light heavyweight on the planet, I'm going to win the fight. So that's what's so exciting for me.
Yeah, and Anthony, you mentioned wanting to hurt Benavidez. We did see Benavidez dropped late in that last fight against David Morrell. You hurt Beterbiev, you hurt Kovalev, and I imagine that you're much more prepared for this third title shot. What can you do to make Benavidez respect your power early in the fight?
Hit him. You know, the aim of the game. Hit and don't get hit. One thing about me as well, I'm like, I know some people try and sell themselves or say, you know, I'm the best or whatever. And I feel like in boxing, you just got to prove it. You know, I'm an underdog for a reason in this fight. That's what is going to make me thrive in this fight. I feel like in boxing, you got to earn your place as well. So if I'm going to be world champion, I want it to be fights like this, you know, against a real solid champion. And I feel like, again, if you look at destiny, if you look at life and they say, you know, all the sayings, you know, free is a charm and all these kind of things, whether you're believing in that kind of storyline, I just honestly feel there's something within me that feels that this was the fight that was put on my plate for a reason.
Yeah, Anthony Yarde, one thing that the fans got to love about you is you duck zero smoke.
That's right.
I mean, Beterbiev and Benavidez, and you just kind of illuminated your thinking and let us know why, and boxing fans love to hear it. Best of luck. Appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate you all. See you later.
Good luck, brother.
Anthony Yarde headlines the Ring 4, along with David Benavidez, on November 22nd in Riyadh on DAZN pay-per-view. This card is stacked. Haney Norman, Abdullah Mason, and Sam Noakes. By the way, that's probably the worst fight on the card. It's an excellent matchup for a young prospect. And then you have Bam Rodriguez against Fernando Martinez. Like, this card is absurdly good. Top to bottom. Don't miss it. Guys, guess what's coming up next? Anyone have a guess? You must know.
Somebody getting told on?
Cops Corner.
Someone's
Someone's getting told on. That's exactly right.
Informant time.
That's right. Informant. You like guys? You must have hated guys like
You
that
know
when
what?
you were a fighter, right?
They kind of annoyed a little bit, but Henry always loved them. Henry gave him all the info, gave him all the
My guy Henry, that's
used to
right.
deal with Henry?
Former trainer, yeah.
Live only on DAZN, October 25th, Parker versus Wardley. Joseph Parker, former heavyweight champion of the world and the current WBO interim champion. He has McCoy, Zhang, and Wilder behind him. His next challenger, Fabio Wardley, the WBA interim heavyweight champion. And the UK's answer to who will hold all the gold next. Two champions lie in wait. Who will get a shot at undisputed? It's truly all or nothing. Parker versus Wardley, October 25th. Watch only on DAZN.
Welcome back to Inside the Ring. Max Kellerman, Mike Coppinger, Shady McCoy, Chris Arreola. You back in English now?
Yeah.
More on?
I'm back.
Okay, good,
I'm back.
good. Now we're going to work on the cursing.
Un poquito.
Right? Okay. That I caught. Yeah, all right. I accept it. I mean, listen, you can't do it all. Rome wasn't built in a day. All right. Mike Coppinger has a little segment on this show that we like to call Cops Corner, and it is that time, Cop.
That's right.
I know you got a whole bunch of stuff on Usyk today, who says he's going to retire at 41. So what does that give us? 2.5 years or something like that? What else can you tell us?
Yeah, Max, and it's great news, too, because after Usyk stopped Dubois for a second time in July, he was non-committal about fighting even one more fight. But I spoke to Usyk's advisor, Sergey Lapin, and he said he expects maybe 5 more fights from Usyk over that span, and that he's looking at the first half of 2026 against the winner of this Saturday's fight between Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley. That's going to be the mandatory, WBO mandatory. It was actually ordered in July for Parker to fight Usyk, but Usyk has a back injury, and he's feeling good now. Lapin said that he had just completed rehab, and he's in excellent shape, and he's ready to go.
I think that Usyk, as I said earlier, has become overrated as a heavyweight champion. Not to say he's not a great heavyweight champion. He is. Right. But he has not done enough at heavyweight. He has some signature awesome wins at the very top against Fury and Joshua, 2 apiece, and against Daniel Dubois, 2. Yeah. But that's like 3 guys he's beaten, top guys. He needs to really flesh out the resume to me. And if he does, then he will be among the very greatest heavyweight champions ever if he wins fights against Joseph Parker, especially if he does it impressively, Itauma, Kaibel,
Agi Kabayel, yes.
Kabayel, excuse me, and 1 or 2 other guys like that. I don't know if Jalalov can get back to looking good again, something like that. I think that he could make a legacy at heavyweight that we compare to, the Evander Holyfields and George Foreman's, and maybe not Muhammad Ali, but those kind of guys in that top 10 tier.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, Vitaly Klitschko at 41. Vladimir Klitschko. I think it's a great thing that Usyk's going to keep fighting because he has so much left. He appears to be at the top of his game right now at 38 years old. No reason to walk away.
Yeah. What about the way he looks, though? I know you're saying like maybe the resume is not as great as we want it to be, but the top guys that they ask him to fight, he's fighting them and he's dominating them.
Oh, listen. As I said,
dominating them.
Pound for pound. Like Evander Holyfield might not be one of the 3 greatest heavyweights ever, but he's a top 20 pound for pound fighter of all time, right?
And
Same thing with Usyk.
Yes, one of the reasons that's also going to be like Usyk is because they're disciplined. That's why.
Yes.
One thing about Holyfield is a very disciplined heavyweight.
Yeah.
And so is Usyk. He's very disciplined. He's not a drinker. He's not out there partying, hanging out, and doing things like that. He's worried. He cares about his craft. So.
And the truth is, most heavyweights who ever live, when you really look, have a kind of thin resume because there usually aren't a lot of great heavyweights around at the same time. Because if you plot a population on a bell curve, right, you get a few guys who are really little and a few guys who are really big. So from a smaller pool of potential fighters, especially when the really big guys in this country are in the NFL, siphoning that away, you get fewer good fighters. When you get a heavyweight era with a lot of good fighters in it, that's atypical. That's not the norm. Okay. So if you look at someone's resume like Rocky Marciano, you don't see a million great names. You see, once he got to the top, a half dozen really good names. Okay. And Usyk is already kind of there. The question is, can he now take that next step and reach up into the ranks of guys I mentioned like Foreman and Holyfield, where when you look at Lennox Lewis, when you look at the names, you're like, damn, he beat a lot of guys.
That's true now. Yeah.
That's a little different, right? Yeah. Usyk also dismissed the fight with Moses Itauma. He said, no, I won't fight Itauma. He's young, always teasing me. He said himself he doesn't hit grandpas. I'll fight till I'm 41, then I'll build a sports academy. I'll train there and train others. I didn't love when Itauma said, I know why fans like it. Itauma says, hey, if I win, I'm the champ. If I lose, I'm only 20.
Right.
And it's honest, but I'm like, well, what are you talking about losing for?
Yeah, I hate that.
I don't love Usyk here saying that, if you're going to fight for another 3 years, then the dude's not going to be a baby anymore by the time you leave. He's going to be 22, 23 with a lot of fights under his belt, Mike.
Yeah, Max, Usyk likes to be cheeky a lot of the times. He made a joke about the grandpas. I spoke to Usyk's advisor, Sergey Lapin, to clarify, and he said, look, he is not ruling out a fight with Moses Itauma at all. He's just saying he's not going to fight him right now because Itauma is not ready yet. He hasn't even gone 12 rounds, and he still needs a serious test before facing a legend. That was the quote. So I do think we could see the fight with Itauma. I just think that Usyk and his team want to see Itauma maybe beat somebody in the top 10, a legitimate test to prove that he's ready.
I would really like to see Itauma fight him, though. Obviously, yes, he has to prove himself. Maybe 2 more fights, get him a fight with Usyk. It reminds me of the time back in the days when Wilder came into the picture. There was a lot of people that didn't want to fight him that wanted him to earn his stripes. Me being one of them, I'm like, nope, I don't want to fight him until he earns his stripes. But that's the thing with Itauma also, and I think he's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a problem to deal with a lot of heavyweights in the coming years.
Chris, let me ask you this question. I'm just thinking, right, where Itauma's gonna be a name, right?
Yeah.
We all know that, right? It's just a matter of time. But I'm thinking about when Floyd took care of Canelo. He knew that Canelo was gonna be great, gonna have a big following, and is gonna be one of the pound-for-pound guys. Let me put him on my resume, so that when Canelo becomes a great fighter, he's on my resume.
Yeah.
Why won't Usyk just do that? Because we know Itauma's going to beat somebody.
He should. Why not? Why not take him while he's young? But he
Actually, it's even better, Chris. It's better. Like this, I go from not liking what Usyk said till you fleshed it out. Now I love it. What Usyk is really saying is, it's not that I'm not going to fight Itauma. It's just I'm not going to fight him before he's ready. Mm-hmm. Like that, my strategy is not going to be cherry picking a dude and getting him when he's not ripe yet, right? When he's still growing. I'm going to get him when he's ready for me. Ooh. And that is gangster of Usyk.
Yo, you just took my word. That is gangster.
That is.
You a gangster for real, though.
That happens to be a fact. Listen, Tyson Fury said he wants a third fight with Usyk. What do you hear about that, Mike? Like a third fight? He lost 2 already.
Yeah, look, I totally understand why Tyson Fury wants a third fight. First fight was very close until the knockdown that Usyk scored in round 9. Second fight was more decisive for Usyk. And Lapin said, look, quote, theoretically it's an interesting option, but for whom? If boxing fans truly support it, then maybe. However, in my opinion, that chapter is already closed.
Oh. The thing I'll never forget about the Usyk fight with Fury, the first one. It was the first one. There came a time in the fight, Usyk was giving him a good little fight, and Fury started having his way, and he started playing with Usyk. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
He was playing.
The first fight?
First fight. He was outclassing him and playing with him. And it was like, Fury is too good at that size. Usyk, you gave it a good shot, but he's playing with you now. Yeah. And Usyk, and Tyson Fury is a guy who can make adjustments. Yes, he has a very high boxing IQ. But no matter how many adjustments you make, Usyk makes more. And in a fight where he looked like he was being played with by like the 5th round, he came back to almost knock him out.
Yeah, that was bad.
I mean, I don't know what Tyson Fury can do differently that's going to change the outcome of the fight. We've seen it twice.
Would you like to see Itauma Fury?
Ooh. Yes.
And winner gets a winner will get a Usyk. That's the only way Usyk will fight him, right?
Maybe
if you get him a rematch.
And he looks good doing it, you saying?
Yeah.
Maybe not, just because, boy,
I like
Tyson Fury's a
though.
lot.
I love Tyson Fury though.
That's a size mismatch, but if he gets caught by Itauma, I don't know if I love that for Itauma.
Yeah. First, I want to see Itauma versus the likes of like a Martin McCoy, a Caballel, a Parker, even an Andy Ruiz or Jarrell Miller. He needs to fight somebody in a step-up fight first. I'm with Usyk here.
I like Andy.
And like you said before, Max, Usyk's that kind of fighter. He's that kind of guy where he's not BSing. He really does probably want Itauma when he's ready.
See, if he takes Itauma, if Usyk waits for Itauma until Itauma's ready, Itauma has these fights we're talking about. Looks amazing. Oh my God, Itauma's real. And Usyk beats him. And in the meantime, Usyk beats Parker. And Usyk beats someone else. And maybe it's Caballel. Maybe it's, as I said, Jalalov didn't look good just now, but he gets back on track. He's a 6'7" southpaw. He's got a gold medal, all this kind of stuff. And he caps his career by beating a guy like Itauma. Now the people who are getting hysterical right now about Usyk and they're saying, they're overrated. They're saying he's the greatest heavyweight ever, which is ridiculous at this point. He doesn't have the resume yet. But now those people have a much stronger case.
Wait, y'all don't want to see him fight Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King?
I mean, of course.
Of course.
Well, you mean Usyk?
Usyk, yeah, that was that first fight.
There are other guys to fight.
First fight was incredible. You're right.
Fury has to give Usyk a reason to want to fight him again. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm just thinking like, who
you got to beat somebody.
Wait, as a fan, you want to see it again, yeah?
I do. That first fight, listen, the reason why I bet so much money on the second fight is I'm like, he had Usyk, Tyson Fury had him hurt, right? He was uppercutting, he was playing with him, joking around with him, laughing, and then Usyk turned it on. Then the second fight, it was competitive, but he still lost. I just think, if you beat that dude 3 times, though, like, that's Tyson Fury we talk about here. It ain't just a regular
He's a big
Joe
man.
Smo in the parking lot.
Now I hate to say it, because Parker already deserves the shot.
He does.
And if he beats Wardley, then he certainly deserves the shot.
Sure.
But if you really want to create a mandate, Tyson Fury, Joseph Parker creates an absolute mandate.
I don't think it happens, though. They are very good friends.
Yeah, no, I don't think it happens either. But you're talking about like,
but you're right though.
Yeah.
Fury against Itauma, but Fury Parker would create an absolute mandate. I don't think it happens either. All right, guys, coming up, Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley. Ooh. They're joining us right here on Inside the Ring.
Did you stare it up?
Joining me. Join me.
Oh, gosh. Exactly the fight he wants.
Tonight, he'd be fantastic. It was just a matter of time.
And that is the shot he was looking for. Oh, great featherweight. Good shot. And we will see him in the semifinals.
This place has just come alive. This is extraordinary. It's bizarre. It's mad. What a shot from Joe Parker. Round 1 KO. Fabio Wardley's done it.
Welcome back to Inside the Ring. I'm Max Kellerman, and I'm joined now by Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley, who, of course, have a big fight coming up against each other. Thank you both for being here. Joseph, I'd like to start with you. You've been in some big fights. You are a very experienced heavyweight contender. You've been a belt holder. You have a guy in Wardley who's younger and not as tested as you have been. How do you assess his threat?
You know, you can only take him for the fights that he's had. And every fight that he's had, he's come on top, you know. And even though a lot of people touch on this last fight we had with Justice Junior, where he was down on the cards and he pulled out a big right hand. So he does carry his power with him throughout the whole fight, you know, from round 1 to round 12. In that case was round 10. And I guess with each fight he's had, he's improved and getting better and better. So I've been in the ring with many top fighters, and I've been in the ring with a lot of power punchers. And I do feel that my level is above Fabio Wardley, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Joseph, you started out as a really dynamic, fast-rising prospect. You had your ups and downs, but from my point of view, it seems as though you're the classic case of a prospect who became a contender and have gotten better and better as you've gotten older through experience, right? How do you use that experience that has now gotten you to this level as a fighter against an inexperienced fighter?
You know, I know that Fabio Wardley is a lot more inexperienced than I am, but I do believe that the team he has behind him will make good adjustments and the way that he's approached this fight, and obviously the game plan. But I do feel with this experience that I have being a world champion and fighting in front of many, you know, big crowds, but also fighting top contenders. I do feel that the experience that I have will be too much for him. That's what I feel.
Fabio, you've risen very quickly. I mean, no amateur experience, a handful of white-collar fights, and now you're fighting Joseph Parker in front of the whole world. Do you, first of all, can you describe what the journey has been to this point? Like, how prepared do you feel for this fight, for this moment?
Yeah, look, it's been a crazy roller coaster of a ride throughout my career with the ups and the way it's just kind of taken off and how I've been kind of thrust full force into boxing, and I've grabbed it with both hands and taken every opportunity in front of me. And look, that's what's been preparing me along this journey, because unlike a lot of other people, I've had to do every bit of my learning in front of the cameras, in front of everyone else, and I've had to learn on the job in the ring at the time. So you've seen where maybe I've lacked and where I'm not doing so well, but you've also seen how I can learn and come back around. And that's what this step is as well. It's another learning platform for me to step up to something bigger.
You know, you're obviously, you have to be a very talented guy to get to where you are now, is, you know, given your limited experience. And you have real athletic ability and punching power, and that's obvious. What I notice about you is, and I think it was smart actually, but that's why I'm asking this question. You don't have kind of a classical boxing style. And I imagine that's because if you try to do it the way everyone else is doing it, and they have a million-year head start on you, it might not turn out so great. So you seem to have a kind of looser sort of style that fits an athletic kind of guy more, without all the basics necessarily the way everyone else does them. Is that by design? Was that your thought? Like, hey, I can't just do it like everyone else. They're too far ahead. I got to kind of have an asymmetrical strategy? Or is that just because you feel comfortable doing it that way?
Yeah, look, it's half and half with that. It is that we looked at it and how I got into the sport so late and looked at these other fighters with all their long stretch of amateur records and amateur pedigree, and I wasn't going to catch them up specifically in those departments. But also, it's a credit to my coach as well, who's been with me from the start, who has allowed me to find my feet. He never tried to box me into a style. We always were very free-flowing. We always picked spaces and styles and movements and certain things that we felt worked for us and were slightly unconventional for a heavyweight as well, and certain ways of going about things. But he never tried to put me off or tell me, look, this is exactly how you should be. You need to box like this. It has to be X, Y, Z. Actually, us as a team, we built this style, if you want to call it, over years of picking pieces and piecing bits together of what actually we think works best for me with my size, my build, and the way I fight.
So, Joseph, I don't know how much of this you've heard, but I've been talking about it on this show, where the guy everyone's looking at in the division right now is Itauma. And when people talk about Joseph Parker not getting the shot at Usyk yet, if you ask them, but who do you think's going to win? Everyone says Usyk. And that may be one of the reasons why you haven't gotten the fight yet. Not enough people believe. They all know you deserve the fight. You've earned the fight. You're an excellent fighter. But not enough people believe you'll win that fight. And maybe that's why you haven't already gotten that shot. Does this fight play into that at all? Or do you just disagree with my analysis?
No, you're right. I guess it's a lot of people do think that if I did have the chance to fight Usyk, that he'll win. So this fight is important in that sense, where I have to go out there and perform. I have to go out there, perform, and look good doing so. And I am very excited for this fight because I got a live, young, challenging opponent in front of me. He's going to bring out the best in me. I've had the best camp I've ever had. I'm in shape, so there are no excuses. So I want to go out there with this fight with Fabio Wardley and put on a great performance. I know he's prepared and everything else, but I need to look good doing so and then get that big fight, get that big fight down the road. But for now, this is the fight that means everything to me.
Yeah, and you're 33 years old. It's funny how time flies because it feels like just a second ago you were this rising prospect who figured it into this emerging heavyweight picture with Fury and Wilder and Anthony Joshua and maybe Usyk was going to come up from cruiser. And I thought you were in that picture with those guys, and suddenly it's like we're in a whole other era. You've acknowledged at 33 now that you don't have unlimited time, right? How has that urgency affected your preparation or the way you're thinking about this fight or your willingness to take risks? Has it had an effect?
Of course. You know, like, I do feel like I've been in the sport for a long time. And I remember there were a few fights in the beginning of my career, or say for the Ruiz fight that you were calling the fight, and that was a while ago, you know. So I think time is not really on my side. And the time that I do have in boxing, I just want to be involved in big and the best fights and fight the best fighters out there. And I do believe Fabio Wardley is one of the best fighters out there with what he's done and where he's ranked. And also it can lead me into more bigger fights.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
But time goes quick. Time goes very quick.
One thing that's universally acknowledged in boxing, Joseph, is that you have earned your spot for sure. Never ducked the heat at all. Fabio, fighting a guy like that who has been in that many top heavyweight fights and has done well in them. Even in times he's lost, he's done really well in his losses, even against the top guys. What's your mindset entering Saturday against a guy like this?
Yeah, look, I know exactly what I'm in for. Joe's got a long track record of being competitive, being at the top level, and obviously taking out, as his last little run he's been on, and taking out some top contenders as well. So there's no way to kind of shy away from it or kind of pretend like Saturday is not going to be a huge challenge in of itself. But the one thing you've seen from me in my career is that in big moments, big occasions, they are where you get the best out of me. The lights get brighter and I do get better. They bring out a different gear in me, a different mode. And that's exactly why we picked Joe and where we wanted him, because there is a lot of coming off the Justice Hooney fight. There is a lot of kind of naysayers in the sense of about how they think I've reached my level or this is as far as I can go in the sport. And I picked out the biggest, baddest, the next one around, he's number 2 in the division with the Ring magazine. So there's no better opponent to pick, take out, and stake my claim on.
Fabio, if you're ready for Joseph Parker, particularly if you beat Joseph Parker, that means you're ready for anyone. It's time to once you fight a Joseph Parker, it means you're ready to fight anybody in the world because he's just about as good as anybody in the world. He's shown it throughout his career. Whether on that given night that guy's a little better or he's a little better, he's at that top level. If I told you right now that if you beat Joseph Parker, you get a shot at Usyk next, what do you say to that?
Yeah, look, that is the dream. That is everything. Not like singly, obviously, being a world title shot. That is when you get into boxing, that is what you're aiming for. But to step into the ring and take on a challenger, take on a fighter like Oleksandr Usyk as well, a generational talent, a generational great, that is more than the cherry on top as well. But again, with all that being said and everything that we know could come after this fight, that can't take away from what is immediately in front of me and the task that is in front of me.
And Joseph, the same question, I know, as Fabio just said, you obviously can't look past each other. But part of what makes this such an interesting matchup is the stakes are very high because it looks like on the other side of this could be a shot at the heavyweight champion of the world. Not a guy who holds a belt, not the heavyweight champion of a sanctioning body, but the heavyweight champion of the whole wide world. What does that mean to you that this guy could be the last obstacle in your way?
This is it. Let's fight right now. I'm ready to go now. I know that. Listen, there's a lot of Usyk is next, and the winner of this fight will get Usyk. But listen, everything is up to Usyk. So it doesn't really matter what anyone says. I just want to get this fight done and then move on to the next big fight. But for now, this is the biggest fight in my career. If I don't get this right, there's no point in me talking about no other fights.
Right. Hey, Fabio, before I let you go, how's the fight end on Saturday night?
Look, all my fights are dramatic, entertaining, and all my fights today have finished with a Fabio Wardley win, and I'm planning to do exactly the same on Saturday night.
Joseph, same question.
All the best to Fabio, but this is my time. This is going to be a Parker win. They're going to go straight to the shop and get a dessert, have some nice food, and have a nice chill with the family. Come on, Fabio, let's get it on.
Gentlemen, a pleasure talking to you both. I look forward to this one. Thank you and good luck to both of you. Stick around. It's Inside the Ring.
Anthony Yarde, he fears no man. He wants David Benavidez, and there's not a lot of fighters in the world that do.
Body shot from Yarde. Shot to the head. Down he goes. Solid shot. Right hand.
Anthony Yarde.
biggest punchers in boxing. But back comes the knees, and that left hook might have Boajuk in trouble. And another one.
Virgil Ortiz Jr., the future has arrived.
Welcome back to Inside the Ring. Max Kellerman, Mike Coppinger, Shady, McCoy, Chris Arreola. Good job, Shady. You dropped the whole microphone and everything.
Can
the
you
whole
hear me?
thing just
1,
came
2,
out.
3.
Yeah, we can
4,
hear you.
5,
Can you hear
6,
us?
7, 8, 9.
All right. Guys, Danny Garcia won what he's saying now is the final fight of his career. I mean, the tricky thing in boxing, especially, is guys say that's it for me, and then The fact of the matter is, in boxing, a couple years go by, and even if you're not what you once were, you could still beat a lot of guys. And if how else can you make that kind of money? And you think about it, a top fighter like Danny Garcia is better at boxing than almost anyone will ever be at anything, even after a couple years go by. If there's money to be made, so we'll see. But anyway, at this moment, he's saying that's it for his career. He scored a clean knockout of Daniel Gonzalez. Guys, let me read you. At welterweight, he was a good fighter. We all know Danny was a good fighter at welterweight. I want to talk about his career at junior welterweight. If I told you a guy beat Mike Arnautis, Nate Campbell, Kendall Holt, Eric Morales twice, Amir Khan at his best, Lucas Matisse, he beat Herrera in a fight a lot of people thought he lost, Lamont Peterson, Paulie Malignaggi, then he moved up to welter, beat Robert the Ghost Guerrero, who's really more of a junior welter than a welter himself. But the point is, he never officially lost any fights at junior welterweight. And he beat Zab and Amir and Lucas Matisse and one guy, Lamont Peterson, all these guys. I know at welter he's not a Hall of Fame fighter. He's a good fighter. He lost to the top welters. Did he do enough at junior welterweight
I think so,
to be a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely.
I think so. And in a lot of these fights, he was the underdog. Danny Garcia came out of nowhere, for real. Let's just be honest. And when he came on the scene, he came out hot. He came out smoking. All these fights, you talk about the Americana, he was like the 8-1 underdog. And you know what he did? He put Americana to sleep with big Z's. Lucas Matisse.
Yeah.
Another one, underdog.
Yep.
Nobody thought he was
That
going to
was
win
his
that
best
fight.
win, I think.
Put him to sleep as well. And then we got to talk about the great.
No, he did not. That was a decision.
It was a decision.
Yeah, well, it looked like he sleep to me.
Yeah,
That's always a snitch next to me.
Yeah.
No, he did not.
Shady's got to make up stuff for
All
Philly
I'm
guys.
saying is Danny Garcia
Memory's not
at
perfect.
junior, he was great over there. He was great.
What do you think, Chris?
No, absolutely, man. He beat who he was supposed to beat when he had to beat him. You know,
At junior welter.
at junior welterweight.
Come on.
And he also beat guys he wasn't supposed to beat at junior welter.
And then when you move to welterweight, my opinion is it's hard to get up when you already got them silk sheets, man. Yeah.
I don't think that's what it was. You think that's what it was? I
Yeah,
think he just
man,
gave
yeah.
up the little size that he had a little natural size and strength at junior welter that at welter he no longer had.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true though. He didn't have that size and he had a hard time with those bigger dudes, but
he still fought him well. He just didn't win.
In junior welter, he still kicked ass.
He didn't duck either. He didn't duck nobody.
No, he fought a lot of welterweights.
Yes, he did.
I gotta say, I don't think he has a great case for the Hall of Fame. And of course, I'm the only one up here that actually votes for the Hall of Fame. And I don't see any way he gets in. I think he was a really good fighter, one of my favorites to cover, great interview, one of the best counter left hooks I've ever seen, and he ends his career, if it does end in that fashion.
I got to go over the resume again at junior welter. Amir Khan was absolutely on top when Garcia knocked him out. I called that fight. I remember thinking the only way Garcia can beat this guy, because Danny had a really good amateur career. So amateur, he's kind of on the same level as Amir Khan. But Amir had just really beaten up. It was Malignaggi and Judah.
Malignaggi and Judah were well past it.
I would not say well past it. I would say maybe
that was at 47.
Maybe
he fought at 47, not 40.
No, that was at 40. I'm pretty
sure it's 47.
Okay, maybe.
Can we get a confirmation
Zab
from
for sure at 140.
Put the polls up.
Zab for sure is at 140. Anyway,
Zab was 140.
And he outboxed these guys in the middle of the ring. Amir Khan, like really beat the hell out of them, boxing them. Guys who were hard to outbox.
Come on now.
And was just looking sensational. When Danny beat him, I remember thinking the only way for him to win is if he catches Amir in an exchange, which is what he did.
He
knocked him out. You add Lamont Peterson and Zab Judah and Kendall Holt and Morales twice. Morales is coming off a very close fight against Matisse himself when he fought him. Madonna himself when the Argentines, I'm getting confused. They had similar styles even. I don't know. I gotta say, I think he did enough to get into the Hall of Fame at junior welter.
And if you don't want to put a first ballot Hall of Famer, he's gonna get in.
I don't think he's getting in. I really don't.
I believe he gets in eventually. there's a lot of football players that don't. You don't think they're going to get in, and eventually they get in.
Yeah, you're getting in on the Veterans Committee?
Because eventually, you know, it gets watered down.
I want to be clear, though. Just because I'm saying I don't think Danny Garcia is a Hall of Famer doesn't mean I don't respect him a ton as a fighter. He had a really good career, and he was one of the best 140-pounders of the last 25 years.
Can I tell you something else, Shady? This is something that I think about in baseball a lot, right? There are guys who are not in the Hall of Fame in baseball who, at their peak, I would take over a lot of Hall of Famers, right? Okay. Danny Garcia, even if his resume, I think that the idea no good deed goes unpunished, right? So at welterweight, he's taking on everyone. He's giving up a little size. He loses to those guys. And that kind of makes people forget about how good he was at junior welter. So I'm arguing he's a Hall of Famer maybe just for what he did at junior welter, where he never lost. But I also think watching him at junior welter at his best, there are guys in the Hall of Fame and there are fighters who people call great who, at his peak, I think I would take Danny over those. And
what about this, though? What about being an underdog? A lot of these fights that we are talking about from
just two of them.
But those two were some of his biggest fights, though.
Those are great wins.
Do you remember Paul O'Neill on the Yankees?
Of course.
Okay.
He used to beat the hell out of the water cooler when he struck out.
But there are guys, or David Cohn was a pitcher of these great teams. Yeah. There are guys who are not in the Hall of Fame. I would take a prime Paul O'Neill or David Cohn over a lot of Hall of Famers. I would take a prime Danny Garcia over some guys who are in the Hall of Fame, is my point.
He deserved to be in the Hall of Fame.
If Danny Garcia had faced a prime Eric Morales and beat him, or a prime Paulie or a prime Judah, I think maybe it's a different story. I think the resume looks better than it actually is because of that.
I think you're exaggerating how far they were from their prime. They were
right. When ever do that, though?
Zab was not that far removed. He wasn't at his best, but he was still really good.
Judah was at his best in 2006, 2007,
I went to that fight,
2008.
That was a solid fight. Danny obviously won the fight.
That was in 2012, I believe, from memory.
All I'm saying is we talk a lot about these resumes with a lot of other fighters, and we don't, I talked about Klitschko being 41 years old, and you didn't want to hear nothing about it. It's like, whatever, he fought the guy. What I'm saying is we can't nitpick about the resume. You fight the guys that you fight, right? Now, obviously, we want to be a little younger, but if we do it to every fighter, we do it to Floyd Mayweather, we do it to all these different fighters. All I'm saying is the guys that Danny Garcia fought, underdog or not, he won them fights at junior.
And fought and beat a dominant champion in Amir Khan when he beat him. What about the losses at welterweight that were close? You lose a split to Keith Thurman.
And Keith at the time was the man.
Keith Thurman, the guy, in retrospect, it was clearly Terrence Crawford was way up here. And then level, Errol Spence, right? But at the time, it was perceived Crawford and Spence. And then right under them was Keith Thurman, right? Mm-hmm. And you had life and death with Keith Thurman. You lose a split decision? Sean Porter is another dude who, Sean Porter has excellent wins in a golden era of
He's not a Hall of Famer.
Welterweights. But I'm saying Danny Garcia was not a natural welter. Right. He's losing very close to Sean Porter and
But the Hall of Famers are moving up 3 weight classes and 4 weight classes. He moved up 1 weight class and then couldn't score one really quality win at 147.
Well, I mean, that's because he's not a slam dunk Hall of Famer, right?
Again,
and that's why we're having the conversation.
But you also talk about the fight he had against, what was it, Sean Porter? Oh, Spence. He wasn't even competitive with Spence, and Spence was fresh off of that car crash. He wasn't competitive. Maybe if he was competitive.
Yeah, and he was also a little past it at that point.
Yeah, he was. That's fair.
That's
fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's an interest. I think at junior welter, people are forgetting about junior
welter.
That's enough to get him in my opinion. That's enough to get him in already. Like you said, maybe not first ballot, maybe second, third, but eventually he's going to get in.
But not if he's on the Veterans Committee.
Hey, real quick,
he won't unanimously for sure.
Since you picking on the Hall of Famers and all that, that's your job to do. Does it matter who you fight as far as, you might have lost, but you took that fight, where a lot of guys, they won't even
credit for that.
So Danny Garcia, a lot of guys didn't even want to fight Errol Spence.
I think he's the Hall of very good.
I understand that. I understand his point.
Keith Thurman, he fought them guys.
Because some of those baseball players I mentioned are in the Hall of very good. Yes. Or they're in their team's Hall of Fame. Right. It's just interesting how there are Hall of Famers who, if you lived through the era, they weren't even as good as the guy who's not in the Hall of Fame at their best. And I wonder if Danny Garcia isn't one of those Hall of very good guys who, if situation would have been a little different, would have been a Hall of Famer, even in your mind, maybe. All right, coming up, it's Shady's moment. No Shade with Shady McCoy, a brand new segment on Inside. Goodbye.
Live only on DAZN, November 15th. Eubank Jr. versus Ben 2. For over 3 decades, 2 names have been carved into British boxing legend, the Eubanks and the Bens. From the Father's sequel in the 90s to the Son's sequel today. The greatest rivalry British boxing has ever seen. Their first fight was a modern classic, a Fight of the Year contender in front of the entire nation with the world on the edge of their seats. And this November, it's the rematch. Chris Eubank Jr. looks to close the case once and for all, while Conor Benn looks for his revenge. The greatest families in boxing go to war once again on DAZN. Eubank Jr. versus Ben 2, November 15th. Watch only on DAZN.
Ingemar Johansson, big upset against Floyd Patterson. Patterson beat him in the rematch, knocked him out. And then in the third fight, I mean, Johansson his leg was twitching, blood trickling out of his mouth. That was one of the most devastating one-punch knockouts ever in the third fight. But Johansson was the real heavyweight champ. And Patterson, when he beat him in the rematch, became the first man to ever win back the heavyweight championship of the world. The first 2-time heavyweight champ ever.
And Patterson, of course, Customato's first heavyweight champion.
That's right.
So that means that right now, you're 1 for 1. I'm 1 for 1. He's 0 for 2. He's 0 for 1. So,
all right. By the way, Cuss had a lot of champions, but he was his first heavyweight champion.
First heavyweight champion.
All right, listen. So this is Inside the Ring. As I hope you are aware, I'm Max Kellerman, Chris Arreola, Mike Coppinger. That is Shady McCoy, the man of the moment. Because, guys, some new video has surfaced of Anthony Joshua, your favorite, Shady. Isn't he your favorite fighter?
Something like that.
Training in the gym. The only problem is he has no opponent. But guess what? We found an opponent for him right here because this is the world premiere of No Shade with Shady McCoy. Shady, I know you're not just hating. You're just keeping it a buck,
Listen,
right?
You know me, Max, for a long time. And one thing I do, I always keep it 100. So no shade intended. But yeah, I mean, I guess you waiting to see who he fights next.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. When I look at his resume, it looks funny in the light. Let's just start with this. So he gets his title against Charles Martin. Now, I don't want to talk about these brothers, right? But Chris, you've been in the ring with these guys. And is it safe to say that probably Charles Martin's probably the worst heavyweight title holder of all time as a heavyweight?
I don't want to say the worst, but the fastest, one of the ones that didn't really earn it the way most boxers do. Didn't knock the guy out, didn't win a decision, so one and done kind of a guy.
Okay, and Charles Martin was never champion. He was a sanctioning body belt holder.
Right. So that's one part. Then the second part is like, okay, you know what, LaShawn? Let's think about who did he beat? Because that matters in sports. Who did he beat?
Yep.
And when I look at it, okay, he beat Klitschko, who was really, really, really good and well respected. The brother was 41 years old.
Mm-hmm. He was still pretty good at that time. He was not at his best, but he was still pretty good.
I thought
41.
I thought he was a great fighter on the night he fought Anthony Joshua.
Yep.
But what about the night when he fought Tyson Fury, though? Because he came off a loss, and then he fought Anthony Joshua.
He lost a very boring fight against what turned out to be an all-time great heavyweight. Mm-hmm. He lost on points. The difference was Joshua got off the deck to knock him out.
That's great, but he was 41 years old, and that matters.
True.
Okay?
That's true.
And if you watch the fight, it matters.
He was off layoff.
Okay, let's go to another
Not
point.
everyone's 41 is the same 41 also.
But
Klitschko's 41 was different from his career.
This is not Copp's corner. This is no shade.
Thank you. Don't tell on me, informant. Okay, the next thing we'll talk about. Okay, so he did beat undefeated Joseph Parker.
Yep.
And he's one of my favorites. So I give him a check for that.
Yep.
Boom. But then you fought Andy Ruiz, and you
Ruiz,
lost.
yeah. Not Louise, Ruiz.
I said Ruiz. I said that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
we
have the tape. We'll play that.
Louise, yeah.
Later in the show, we'll play that back. But go ahead.
Anyway, so you fought Andy. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you lost. A heavy set Andy.
Yeah.
Came in there, he was the super underdog and got beat on.
But
And he
Andy's
dropped
heavy
him
set.
hard.
So
Dropped Andy Ruiz hard, too. Give him a little credit for that.
Okay.
And won the rematch.
Can we give Andy his credit? He whooped on him.
And he gets credit.
Okay.
How's Ruiz? How's Andy Ruiz as a heavyweight?
He's pretty hard. And he has fast hands.
And he throws
Yes,
combinations.
yes, he does. But
He's great
good.
combinations.
Listen, okay, but that's what I'm saying. Andy, we love Andy. We love Andy.
Yeah.
But he's a good fighter. Let's just put him right here. Because we talk about somebody supposed to be Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Andy Joshua, correct?
Okay.
So let's stick there. Because Andy's not that. He's a good fighter, right? Cool.
Yeah.
So then you get a rematch. And the brother comes in there even heavier. And you win that fight. Ever since Andy
didn't look great either, just outboxed him a little bit. Yeah.
Ran around outboxed, cool.
That was kind of we never really have seen AJ the way he was pre-Andrew Ruiz since then.
So all I'm saying is, since Andy put them hands on him, I don't think he's ever recovered from that. And then when you look at his resume, it looks funny in the light.
Yeah, I don't think Shady's hating here,
funny
guys.
in the light.
I don't think this is shade. I think Shady's just telling the truth. Anthony Joshua is an interesting case as a Hall of Famer. I would say yes because I think boxing, there's a commercial element to it, but in terms of pure resume, no. But let me tell you my actual case for it. Okay,
because I got some more for you. So go ahead.
When Joshua knocked out Klitschko, the guy who Tyson Fury won the lineal championship from, he beat Klitschko more convincingly, more decisively, because it ended in a knockout, than Fury had.
Yep.
And in Fury's absence, who had all kinds of problems and stepped away from the sport for a good long while, a consensus formed around Anthony Joshua that he, now in Fury's absence, is the heavyweight champion. Not just because he knocked out Klitschko, he then beat Joseph Parker.
I respect that, right? But then we keep digging, because like one thing is when you dig, okay, no, we got to keep digging. Let's keep digging.
Keep digging.
So then Usyk comes, shows up, right?
Okay, yep.
We know how that went.
He gave Usyk two very tough fights.
Let me say it again.
He didn't win.
Listen, I don't know.
We're talking about an all-time great in Oleksandr Usyk. Joshua gave him all he can handle twice.
Yeah, but there's going to be an L after all that. You just
It's an L.
About. Cool. Two of them, though. Two of them.
Yeah.
Am I missing somebody?
Good win over Dillian White. Dillian White on the way up.
Good fighter. Yep.
Good fighter.
Yep. That's a good win. I mean, it is.
A monster knockout of a solid fighter in Kubrat Pulev. It's a resume to me where it's accumulation. He just accumulated a lot of quality wins. I see what you're saying,
Chris,
Shady.
let me ask you this, Chris. Real quick.
So, in the United States?
Oh, you know how I feel about United States athletes. Anyway, if I start naming, and because you did this at a high level, so I want you to tell me that. If I start naming these guys, I'm going to say Usyk, I'm going to say Fury, I'm going to say Lennox Lewis, I'm going to say all these great fighters. Can he even sit at the table with these guys? No. So when we talk about Hall of Famers,
he doesn't beat Fury now. He doesn't beat Fury now. So why are we even talking about it? Why is he even up there?
We're not going to talk about how the wall whooped up on him too, though.
I mean, let me.
No, I don't know about that.
Who whooped him?
He said Wilder would have whooped on him. I'm not
I
sure
don't know.
about that.
That's hard to say.
Fight.
That's really hard to say. I'll say this: Boom Boom Mancini, who I felt was a little actually underrated by hardcore boxing people when he beat Jose Luis Ramirez convincingly and gave Arguello a great fight before he ever won the title against Frias. And Boom Boom Mancini is in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. His resume is not better than Anthony Joshua's. The reason Boom Boom Mancini's in the Hall of Fame is partly because of what he did inside the ring, which, as I said, I think actually has become a little bit underrated, and partly because he was a big deal. Like, everyone knows the name Boom Boom Mancini from that era. There was a song at Boom Boom Mancini's fighting Bobby Chacon, right? Like that. That's part of his fame. It's not just the Hall of Excellence, it's the Hall of Fame. And Anthony Joshua is a dude who has put 100,000 people in a stadium. No, they don't all do 100,000. And he did it a lot. And he did it and knocked out Vladimir Klitschko.
Boom Boom, how old is he?
Yeah, but
how old is Boom Boom?
He's now?
I'm saying he's probably like, wait.
He's old like him. So when I was 8 years old, Boom Boom was like 22. So
I don't know about Boom Boom, and I respect Boom Boom, but I know Anthony Joshua. I watch his career. I follow that. I'm a boxing nut, so I follow that. And when I look at Dubois, we see how that went. Did we not? Whooping up on him. Now, we don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame, nothing like that, right?
No, of course not.
So what I'm saying is we got a lot of guys that's putting their hands on him a certain way that will never go to the Hall of Fame.
But there are guys like, for example, I mentioned Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson was knocked down by a guy making his pro debut. He was an Olympic gold medalist, but it was for the heavyweight championship of the world. He was knocked down by a guy making his pro debut. He was knocked out by Ingemar Johansson, but he won the title back. He was not a dominant heavyweight champion, and he had some losses, and he had some bad losses. But Floyd Patterson, have you heard the name Floyd Patterson?
I know I know who that is.
Floyd Patterson is a Hall of Fame fighter. And it's not that everyone who gets into the Hall of Fame is as good as everyone else who gets into the Hall of Fame. But, for example, can you tell the story of boxing in this era without talking about Anthony Joshua?
The answer is absolutely no.
Disagree.
You cannot. And look, Shady, I think you're making some good points here.
Thank you.
But
I think he is too.
Over the years, and I've said this a lot, the Hall of Fame in boxing is a joke overall. There's way too many guys that don't belong to be there. So it really comes down to, are you saying, okay, the criteria is up here, you have to be one of the best, or we're comparing you to what other fighters are in the Hall of Fame already?
Yeah. I mean, there are some guys, like you mentioned, like a belt holder, right? Yeah. There are belt holders. Anthony Joshua was not just a belt holder. Even though he was never, like, if you trace the lineage, he didn't beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. But sometimes when the lineage is broken because a guy retires or for other reasons isn't around, a consensus forms around a guy who starts his own lineage. Anthony Joshua did that. There aren't that many fighters who ever lived who are the actual heavyweight champion of the world. He's one of them.
Chris, I'll just say this, man, and this helped me out here, because Max really wants to agree with me. And Mike, he hates to agree with me, but he really wants to. Can we all safely, because everything can be true. Two people can be true at things. You know what I mean? Yeah. Is it safe to say that his resume is funny in the light? Can we say that? At least, can we say that?
It's a little funky.
That's all I want to know.
Just a little bit, but at the end of the day, he did beat Klitschko. Like, as much as we want to say that he was old, he still beat him.
And really what's going on to me with you, Shady, I think you put your finger on something for sure. This is not coming out of left field. You say, I watch Anthony Joshua, and I don't see a great fighter.
Yeah.
And you're taking Hall of Fame to mean he needs to be a great fighter. Then you say, okay, since I don't see it with my eyes, let me look at the resume to see if there's something I'm missing. And when you examine the resume, it matches up with what you see, which is you don't believe he's a great fighter. I will simply say there have been very few heavyweight champions, actually, where when you really examine the resume, you can't pick them apart. Right? Not everyone's Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Even great heavyweights, when you really look hard at their resume, you go,
It's just
and Joshua was one of those.
It's just more of the guys.
Do we still want to watch Fury fight him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
we know how that's going to go.
I think we're going to get it too next year.
I think it'll be a fun fight.
But Max, my last point before we go, all I'm saying is when we talk about the Tyson Fury, like he just talked about Usyk, who was another one I'm missing? Even Wilder. It was a point in time when we thought them guys were the man. Since I've been watching boxing, I've been watching for a long time, been a super fan. You see me in all the fights, right? You see me in this ringside looking icy, loving it. I've never had a moment where I say, you know what, wow, Anthony Joshua is the man in boxing. I've never felt that.
Your athlete eyeball test says no, and then you put the analyst cap on, you look and you say no.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think that's shade. I agree.
Because I don't give a lot of shade. I give the truth.
Could have also called that throwing shade, because maybe you threw a little shade.
But did you catch the shade?
Maybe.
Now we rolling.
All right, listen, coming up, we're heading into the final round. It's inside the ring.
And don't be correcting me no more. If I just mess up somebody's name, tell me the right name.
That was Max.
Live only on DAZN, October 25th, Parker versus Wardley. Joseph Parker, former heavyweight champion of the world and the current WBO interim champion. He has McCoy, Yang, and Wilder behind him. His next challenger, Fabio Wardley, the WBA interim heavyweight champion. And the UK's answer to who will hold all the gold next. Two champions lie in wait. Who will get a shot at undisputed? It's truly all or nothing. Parker versus Wardley, October 25th. Watch only on DAZN.
Welcome back to Inside the Ring. It is time for the final round. Guys, by the way, I do this every time, so Max Kellerman, Mike Coppinger, Shady McCoy, and Chris Arreola. Final predictions, Parker Wardley. Let's start with you, Chris.
Parker Wardley, I give it a 6-7.
What? 6-7. What's your prediction?
6-7 rounds.
For who?
I'm taking Parker.
Yeah.
Parker,
6 or 7 rounds. Okay. All right. Okay. I thought you were rating it on a scale of 1 to 10.
6-7 rounds.
Maybe a 6.7. What do you think? What do you think, Shady?
Oh, was that Chris? Was that quick?
That was nice.
Yeah.
I heard that snap, too.
You correct me one more time, it's going to be you right here. I'm going with Parker, though. I'm going Parker, and I'm going knockout in the 7th round. This is the reason why. Because if he wins, you should win. But if you want to fight against Usyk, you got to put the whole world on a statement like this. I need this fight. And the way you get it, you go on and you handle business with a knockout.
Why are you being insecure about him correcting you on
Insecure?
Stuff? Yeah. What do you think? But Shady, football players, see, here's my experience. Let me tell you my experience with NFL players, and I have a lot of my friends, who played in the NFL and stuff, is football players, American football, the thickest skin of anyone you ever meet because they have been shown tape of every time they messed up every week of their lives since they're little kids.
Right.
So football players take criticism like no one else. So what are you getting all thin-skinned about him correcting you for?
Now, if you know me longer than I've known him. That's my boy, though.
Yeah.
You know I got thick skin.
Yes, you do.
You do.
I'm just joking. This is my guy.
Oh, okay. All right.
But if he correct me again,
But yeah, you see, no. There's a little something in it, right? Is there a little something in it?
There's a little something in it. The rule of just kidding.
Yo.
Yeah.
Me being the only black guy on the desk, we joke.
Oh, okay.
We joke, okay?
Okay.
Get more black friends, man. Get more black friends.
All right. Listen.
My prediction for the fight, I like Parker by decision. Yes, Parker knocked out Martin McCoy, who took the fight on 3 days' notice. But I think the best bet here is decision. That's how he beat Wilder and Zhang. And I think he's going to do it in decisive fashion. But Wardley's going to have his moments. I think he learned a lot from that fight against Hooney.
Wardley is an exciting fighter. He's athletic. He's exciting, as I said. Parker's going to knock him out. All right, let's check out the tail of the tape here, guys. Parker's only 3 years older, but he's much more experienced. They're around the same height. Wardley with a slight advantage in height and reach. Of course, this is old school reach, fingertip to fingertip, which includes how broad your back is.
You like the arm length.
It's not your jabbing reach, really, but it's a traditional measurement in boxing. Neither one's a southpaw. They're both right-handed. Look at the difference in rounds fought.
That matters.
And how many of those rounds were against world-class fighters for Parker? Yeah. I just think the problem for Wardley is even if he hurts Parker and he starts exchanging, that'll be all she wrote.
Right, and the other part of here, Max, it's really incredible that Wardley's got to this point because you look at the disparity in pro rounds, but Parker was a top amateur. Wardley had 0 amateur fights. He started boxing at 20. He was doing it because he suffered a soccer injury, football in the UK, and he was like, you know what? I want to do something athletic. I'm going to be a white-collar fighter.
That's the thing. But by the way, 0 amateur fights. This is why he's an impressive guy. Only 5 white-collar fights.
Right.
So it's not like he then had 25 white-collar fights, at least 50 white. He had 5. He had basically none. He's basically everything you've seen him as a fighter is as a pro.
Sparring, basically.
Yeah, right. Sparring guys. But Parker sparred a lot of guys. It's just the disparity in experience.
It's minus 550 for Parker. I got to see what's the knockout.
I think the odds are too close.
Yeah, I need the knockout. Though. Whatever the knock was, I'm taking that.
Yeah, and Wardley, by the way, Wardley can punch.
Yeah, he can punch.
100% he can punch. All right, guys, let's check out the schedule of upcoming fights on DAZN. This week, first, some Thursday night action from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Unbeaten Joshua Pagan faces once-beaten Malik Montgomery in a lightweight main event. Then on DAZN pay-per-view from London, it's 2 top 10 heavyweights. We've been talking about them a lot this show. Number 2 ranked Joseph Parker faces number 6 ranked Fabio Wardley in a fight that could determine a challenger to Ring Magazine champ, a.k.a. the heavyweight champion of the world, Oleksandr Usyk. See how easy the sport is to follow when you don't worry about sanctioning bodies and all this BS, when there's one champion that's recognized as the world champion. And then if you get a fight between 2 contenders, that means something. It does. Because there aren't 50 guys being ranked. There are 10. All right. That does it for Inside the Ring. That's Chris Arreola. That's Mike Coppinger. Shady McCoy. I'm Max Kellerman. We'll see you next week.
Peace.